And then diet and foraging. What do snowy owls eat? Well, it can vary a little bit. In the breeding season, they're what we call obligate lemming predators for the most part. So in order to breed, they just need high densities of lemmings pretty much throughout their Arctic breeding range. You know, there's some studies where it's a mix of lemmings and voles, rare study too where there's a lot of birds, but for the most part, they're really dependent on lemmings during the breeding season. During the wintertime, however, they diversify their diet quite a bit. And so depending where they winter, if they winter in coastal areas or in the Arctic out in open areas of sea ice, they can diversify to ducks or seabirds, alcids in particular, maybe it's guillemots or puffins or something like that. So they just kind of depends, the season that it is. And then since there's no darkness, the snowy owls hunt during certain hours of the day, or the hunt is needed throughout 24 hours of light. A little bit of both. We can clearly see that during the breeding season up there. When the female's incubating, we go to them, do our nest checks, and we might see a lemming, or we may not see many lemmings at all. But once the eggs hatch, or they get them ready to hatch, all of a sudden the provisioning rates pick up, and the male starts piling up more and more prey. So when you have a lot of mouths to feed, you're probably hunting quite a bit, as you can see from the Explore Cam. And then when you don't have to feed a lot of chicks, you're probably hunting less. So anyway, it's a circumstantial thing. All right. Okay, there's a few questions that the cam watchers have made relating to, a male will come in with prey, she maybe won't take it, or the chick won't take it and he'll fly away with it, or he may come in and lay it down, pick up prey and fly away with it. She may do the same thing. What's that all about? I'm not totally sure what it's all about. Sometimes they just fly away and eat them. We have seen that. They don't cache that often away from the nest. We do find caches from time to time. Mostly it's just an individual lemming. So I'm not so sure what it's all about. It might be just, fly away and eat in peace. When you have so many mouths just, pecking at your bill, if you're the female, it might be a good time for her just to get away and eat. The male, who knows when he eats. Sometimes I wonder if he eats at all because he's so many prey deliveries. The other thing that came up was that the female in the last week or so has been taking more and more time off the nest, and that's very true. We see that pretty regularly when the older chicks get pretty big, the female seems to take longer breaks off the nest, and it's probably because those chicks, those big chicks, can thermoregulate at that time, so they can maintain their own body heat. And the smaller chicks that are kind of in that transition stage can huddle underneath the larger chicks, and just the inertia alone can keep them warm. But if foul weather does come in, the female will be immediately back, and they'll crawl up under her breast and under her wings. So yeah, we clearly see that she'll take a little, longer breaks as the chicks get a little bigger and kind of withstand, most of the environmental conditions. All right, the next one is predators. Do they have any predators? Well, as adults, probably very few. Maybe perhaps large eagles from time to time. Maybe a female snowy owl kills a small male snowy owl or a young snowy owl from time to time, but probably nothing significant. As far as the chicks go, there are predators out in the tundra. They do nest on the ground. Arctic fox are there, but I don't think they get many of them, and the adults are pretty tough on foxes. And they attack foxes and gulls and jaegers a little more differently than they attack us. There's quite a bit more aggression to it. They will attack polar bears, they will attack caribou, we've seen that, but they probably can't do much other than redirect their path. So very few predators on the adults, and probably fewer predators on the chicks, at least when they're in the nest and dispersed around the nested territory. Here's questions related to nest defense. And so let me just summarize that from what we've learned over the years. Is the first line of nest defense is for the female to slip off the nest when she sees approaching danger. In our study here, that could be 400 or 500 yards away, 300 yards away. So that's it. Get off the nest so no one can recognize a female on the nest. Then as we approach a nest, because we have figured this out, then behaviors kind of change, and a lot of it is a male has his behaviors, a female has their behaviors. So as we approach the nest, a female has slipped off, and she may be out there just watching a couple hundred yards. we get close to the nest, the male usually comes in, he'll bark or he'll hoot at us. And, you know, kind of depending what's going on there, and depending on the male, the first is the barks, then the hoots, and then he may just come in and physically attack. So while he's doing this, the female at this point has maybe moved closer in, and sometimes she'll feign wing injuries to try to lure you away from the nest. She'll come in and scream at you, and she'll bark at you. So what we've learned is that males and females bark, males hoot, females rarely do, females scream, males rarely do, and then the ultimate of nest defense is the attack, which is predominantly a male behavior, but sometimes females will engage in that. And they do hit you, and it does hurt, and they do draw blood from time to time, individually depending.